sorted tens of thousands of birthday cards sent to Colonel Tom last month. He says he'd work day and night for him.
Colonel Tom Moore has been a beacon of light, not just for us, but the whole country. And for what a tremendous amount of money he's raised, and it's been a pleasure to work for him. And even if I have to work 24/7 for him, we would do that because he's such a lovely person.
Downing Street says an investiture ceremony for Sir Tom will take place at a later date. In the city, the FTSE 100 will reopen at 6,002 after closing down 46 points yesterday, and the pound buys $1.22 and €1.12. And the weather, a fine day with plenty of very warm sunshine once any early patchy cloud clears. Most areas will be hotter than yesterday, a high of 27 degrees. From Global's newsroom, you're up to date.
Right now, we're all depending on the digital world that little bit more. And Barclays Digital Eagles are here to help everyone develop the skills they need. From T&Teach, supporting those who are new online, to Code Playground, teaching kids how to code. Since 2013, we've been helping everyone develop digital skills. And now more than ever, we're here to help. To find out more, search Digital Eagles. Barclays, we're working to make money work for you.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Ferrari at breakfast.
23 minutes after 7 on Wednesday, May the 20th, the death toll in our care homes at least 15,000. It could be greater, perhaps an extra 50%. Remember, tragically, the current death toll stands at 35,000. Was this an area that was fatally ignored? Meanwhile, in other news, more schools seem to revolt. Up to 1,500 primary schools are expected to remain closed on the 1st of June as pressure now builds on the government to publish the data that makes them believe it is safe for children and, of course, teachers to return. More details on that. Rishi Sunak's warning that a recession the like of which we've never experienced, you go back more than 300 years, is on the way. We'll work out what it means for those in work, those poor and vulnerable and living off savings, and of course for the mega rich. We'll work our way through the whole dial, the whole scale of all of that. Priti Patel will be joining me to explain more on these Get Tough terror laws and Grounded with a Bump.
Flying with EasyJet has never been easier. This is Generation EasyJet.
Yes, they like to talk about Generation EasyJet. Sadly, they've lost the gen or the data. 9 million people hacked by EasyJet. Details later in the hour.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
The Office for National Statistics shows that the number of care home residents killed by coronavirus in England and Wales has reached 15,000. The current total is 35,341, although that will grow when all numbers are put together. But the head of health analysis at the ONS, Nick Stripe, has said that possibly, with regards to care homes, could be 50% higher. That puts it obviously into the low 20s, 20-odd thousand. And now the row goes on about whether they were or whether they were not. Care homes were neglected at the start of the pandemic. Details, LBC's political editor, Theo Usher. Theo.
Serious questions now being asked about the government's testing programme and what specifically was done to protect care homes. Yesterday's official numbers were grim. Care home residents account for 25% of all coronavirus deaths. But elsewhere in the world, the numbers are very different. Adelina Comas Herrera, a research fellow at London School of Economics, told MPs on the Health and Social Care Select Committee that countries like South Korea had a policy of placing care home residents in quarantine away from other residents.
For example, in South Korea, there hasn't been a single death of a care home resident in the care home. That is because anybody with suspected COVID was immediately isolated, and if they tested positive, were removed into quarantine centers and or hospitals.
We'll be hearing later from Adelina Comas Herrera, who's coming on the programme. Nick, what we know is that the government abandoned the mass testing programme on March the 12th. MPs on that select committee also wanted to know, though, what was the government's policy specifically when it came to care homes? Professor Martin Green is chief executive of Care England, and he said that we were doing the opposite to South Korea. Instead of taking infected residents out of care homes, we took them out of hospital and placed them back into care homes. That happened even if the elderly had COVID-19 symptoms, even if they hadn't had a test.
We see from Adelina's figures that they might be much higher in terms of numbers of people who might have had things that weren't COVID related, but would normally had a hospital intervention.
isolate people once they have an infection. So ideally what you need to do is to test, contact trace. So if you have somebody with potential COVID or even confirmed COVID in a care home, you need to make sure that you can isolate them, but also all the people who've been in touch with them, both staff and residents. And as I said, make sure we have a good technical support for care homes so they understand how many people they can really isolate within the buildings that they have, because care homes were not designed to be isolation centers, they're communal living spaces. And we need to know whether we need to have some additional capacity, perhaps in other buildings or other places, where if a care home cannot isolate everyone they need to, they can then take them.
From your position of expertise, when we hear that there are now some government sources suggesting they had poor or faulty science or advice, do you concur?
I think it took quite a long time for the emerging evidence that we had from other countries to be taken into guidance, and I think we could still be improving the guidance that we have at the moment in terms of, for example, how we recognize the fact that this virus spreads before the symptoms are shown or even without showing symptoms. And I think a lot of our guidance has relied a lot on identifying people who had symptoms, and this in care homes in particular has been a huge problem.
So it was, in part, at fault.
There was some emerging evidence. This is a new virus, and obviously changing guidance, and I don't know fully how this works in the UK, and some countries maybe have been a bit faster than in others. And of course some countries already had experience with SARS and this type of diseases and acting much more quickly. I think perhaps here we didn't see this coming to us, and we had a slow reaction.
What country would you hold up as an exemplar of how we should, the United Kingdom should have responded?
I think it's important to look at Asia, but they do have a very different type of care homes and cultures. We have to, of course, be very mindful of that. But because they experienced SARS, they didn't take any chances. And we heard yesterday that outside committee from Hong Kong, where they haven't had a single infection in a care home. And in South Korea, they had some infections, but what they did was to remove people into either quarantine centers or hospitals. I want to stress that some care home residents did die in South Korea, they just didn't die in the care
So no blame at all. No blame at all to the care home owners last week. No blame whatsoever. They're completely blameless. These firms that charge £1,500 a week in some instances, they emerge totally blameless today. It's all the government's fault.
In this particular situation, they are not the motorways and healthcare providers. Yes, it is the government, entirely government's fault.
Okay, interesting. Goodness knows what these people pay £1,500 a week for. Carolina Daly, thank you. You are Chief Executive of the Care Workers Charity. We'll take your views on that. Also, coming up immediately after the news, Down to Earth with a bump.
Flying with EasyJet has never been easier. This is the Generation EasyJet.
Yeah, so much for the Generation EasyJet. 9 million people have their data, and details follow the 7:16 LBC News headline. Simon Conway.
The British Medical Association says schools should reopen as soon as it's safe to do so, but that a zero-risk approach is not possible. Official figures just released show inflation fell to 0.8% in April, down from 1.5% the month before. Downing Street's announced Colonel Tom Moore is to receive a knighthood for his NHS fundraising. LBC weather, a fine day with plenty of very warm sunshine, a high of 27 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Joanne Webb. On the M11, one lane is closed on the southbound exit Sit Road at junction 7 at Harlow, and that's because a lorry has broken down. Homerton High Street stays closed both ways at Ponsford Street because of an ongoing police investigation. Very busy on the A13 westbound to the Wellington interchange. That's because of an accident. One lane is closed for recovery, and there are delays on the North Circular Road westbound between Gayton, Edmonton and Palmer's Green, and also queues northbound to the Blackwall Tunnel.
Call Nick Ferrari now. 0345 6060 973. This is LBC. This is an important update from the government about coronavirus symptoms and testing. If you have any one of the following symptoms: a high temperature, a new continuous cough, loss of taste or smell, you can now get tested. Do not leave home for any reason other than to get tested. Find out how to get a test and how long to isolate at nhs.uk/coronavirus. Stay alert. Control the virus. Save lives.
At Lloyds Bank, we know that money is a concern for a lot of people during this time.
You just put pressure on yourself all the time. You just want to do your absolute best.
You automatically then think,
It's my fault.
yeah, this is because I've not
Done X, Y,
raised,
Z.
yeah, I've not raised the right.
Whatever's playing on your mind at the moment, Lloyds Bank, in partnership with Mental Health UK, can offer you support and advice. Visit lloydsbank.com/mentalhealth.
This is a message from the government. There is new guidance to help businesses and employees who cannot work from home be COVID-19 secure at work. The advice will help you conduct a risk assessment, put social distancing measures in place, improve hygiene and cleaning in the workplace, and look after the well-being of your employees. Every workplace is different. Use the guidance to make your business COVID-19 secure. Access the support you need at gov.uk/working safely. Stay alert. Control the virus. Save lives. Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
With Xero, accounting software for small businesses that works anywhere you do.
19 after 7. Every morning, every weekday morning, I give you these figures. Let's give them again. The grim toll of coronavirus across the world. The number of confirmed cases now is just shy of 5 million. 4,988,994 is the figure, of whom sadly now the death toll stands at 324,958. To the United Kingdom, the number of cases 248,818 confirmed cases. The deaths 35,341. That was up there yesterday's increase. 540 yesterday's reported increase 545, and on the testing figure it now stands at 89,784. Excuse me, this isn't the virus, it's hay fever, September, hay fever data. 89,784, which is
says the Times. BMA drops opposition to schools reopening. That's quite key. The doctors' group saying pupils can return if safe, though, so it doesn't quite help the government as much as they might like. The Guardian, number 10 retreats as rebellion over schools gathers pace. I think I mentioned the figure. It's believed around 1,500 primary schools currently are scheduled not to be opening in a couple of weeks, a little under 2 weeks' time, June the 1st. The Daily Mail carrying on their campaign. They are understandably livid at the teachers, callous teachers' unions plotting exposed. This is about a meeting that went on regarding one particular union, the National Education Union, which probably is the most hard line of the hard lines, or the hardest of the hard lines, and the meeting that went on there. The recession that I've mentioned is the front page of the Daily Express. Recession like we have never seen before. We're looking at that in more detail later in the show. The Daily Mirror continues their campaign as regards organ donation, has a story concerning that. The Eye tells us about the blame game. Minister pointing finger at the wrong sign, something I just explored with one of our contributors there. The Financial Times also talks about Rishi Sunak's hopes of a bounce back being dashed. And the Sun, and this picture is carried on a lot of the front pages, but the Sun splashes it, or has it as its main story, arrays Sir Tom, which is quite clever when you consider that Captain or Honorary Colonel, now Sir Tom Moore, who raised £39 million the NHS, now will of course get that knighthood. So congratulations, it's great to have a heartwarming story, tremendous work, and congratulations. I've had the privilege of speaking with the captain on, gosh, I think 3 if not 4 occasions, so tremendous news for him and for his family. Let's talk about this care home issue, and is it wholly obvious? Look, for my money, for what it's worth, everybody emerges with blame here. The government should and could have done more, but so could the private organisations, some of which are hugely, ridiculously wealthy American hedge companies that earn them. Gary's in Kingsland. Gary, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hi, Nick.
Yes, sir. What can you tell me?
From what I had a call from a member of our family on Friday, 2 members of the family that work in care homes, sorry. One of them called us on Friday because just concerned, because she's a single mother, got 2 children, works in a care home. One member of staff has been confirmed now with coronavirus. As of last night, still no residents tested whatsoever. Now 5 members of staff have got coronavirus. So we're sitting here just waiting for this to sweep through this care home. It just doesn't seem anything's being done about it. So there's no this protective ring and what they talk about being around the care homes and around these people. They're just all sitting there waiting to get it and inevitably potentially die.
Have any of the residents yet shown symptoms?
Not yet. But these
5 of the
people
staff
have been working. So on Friday, 1 confirmed as coronavirus, a member of staff.
Yes.
At that point, until having the test still working, now 5 members of staff working in various parts of this same building. It's inevitable that people within that care home are going to get struck with it.
And is this privately owned, or is this NHS owned, or is it a mix?
I have to be honest, I don't know that, and the truth is, I don't know what measures have taken up to that point. But
yes.
I think the thing for me was when I'm working daily and we talk about testing and
yes,
people, the demand not being there for these tests historically. Well, they need to go to the people, because these care homes, there's people just sitting there, to me, just waiting now to die.
Horrific. Of course, the staff now very concerned as well. I wish your colleagues, your family members, your family members as well. So, Gary, thank you for making us aware of that. Staying with this subject, a couple of emails. Stephen in Beaconsfield. We shouldn't blame the government for everything. The majority of care homes are privately owned, mostly by private equity companies looking to make profits. My mother-in-law is in a local care home owned by a well-established care home company. They locked down in mid-February. My wife's not seen her mother since February, but we know she's in safe hands. The home is well protected and well managed with plenty of provisions. It's not all down to the government. Dave quotes a figure, now I don't know if this is true, but it's interesting. 84% of care homes are privately owned. The media are trying desperately to blame the government. The owners charge massive rates to their residents and fail to purchase PPE and other protective gear. Now we have a string of people lining up to rubbish the government. All right, we'll come back to that conversation in a moment. Let's talk, though, about EasyJet now, and they've admitted a highly sophisticated cyber attack has affected approximately 9 million customers. Email addresses, travel details have been stolen. Over 2,000 customers have their credit card details accessed. Rob Pritchard is former deputy head of the UK Cyber Security Operations
say without further details, and I suspect it would be quite a long time, probably until after the ICO investigation, that we find out what happened. But it's unlikely to be a single thing. It's more likely to be numerous failings, really, but potentially not helped by the fact, of course, that there's been a lot of disruption, including presumably staff being furloughed and things like that during this pandemic period.
What precautions should a company the size of EasyJet be taking?
Well, again, enterprise security is not necessarily easy, but they have an obligation under GDPR, the data protection legislation, to protect our data. And it doesn't say anything specifically around what you must do, but the ICO in the UK and the National Cyber Security Centre have laid out what the sort of minimum standards they expect, or minimum things they expect to see companies doing. And obviously, I'm sure EasyJet were doing components of all of those, but something has gone wrong somewhere.
Indeed, it has. Thank you for that. Rob Pritchard, your former Deputy Head of the UK Cyber Security Operations Centre. Now, just to give you the details on that, if and many of you, I'm sure, have used EasyJet, EasyJet are saying that I need to tell you, they take this very seriously. It was a highly sophisticated attacker. They also say that you will have, if you have had your details compromised, you will have been contacted by now. So, although this happened some months ago, they're saying if you were affected, if they've got whatever data, you should have been contacted. So the other way of looking at that is, if you haven't been contacted, perhaps you're in the clear. We'll keep an eye on that story. We're a big problem for EasyJet, of course, as if the coronavirus isn't a big enough problem. Now they could have a huge fine on their hands as a result of this. The attack, they learned about the attack, by the way, in January. That's a data attack. Let's talk about attack. I think many of us agree with even more substantial, which is the terror attacks this country has sustained, and the Justice Department vowing to get tough on terror, with new laws being introduced today that will put dangerous terrorists behind bars for at least 14 years and will allow for some to never be released. Home Secretary Priti Patel will be joining me later to discuss that. But let's get a pointer now from formerly Alex, now Lord Carlisle, who's a barrister and cross-bench peer, and of course was the independent reviewer of terrorism legislation. How would you review this legislation, of what you've heard of it so far, Lord Carlisle? Good morning.
Well, good morning. I'd start by welcoming the reintroduction of beefed up terrorism protection and investigative measures